Well, here it sits. I got a little bit accomplished with it, but not what I've really been wanting to get done. But I got the truck in here, getting ready to lift the cab back up. That way I can start working on the frame. But yeah, let's go over what little I've done on this. As you can see, I don't know if I can zoom in or not, it's kind of difficult to do here, but it is pouring down the rain outside. It's been doing that for the past week, and pretty well getting somewhat caught up on some of my jobs since it's been raining, and I got some extra time to work on the truck. So let's go over what I have done so far with this. Pulled off the old flywheel. It's got that junky two-piece flywheel that's known to blow apart and take your legs out. Got rid of that, put a South Bend dual disc clutch in it, and took the old slave cylinder out. Who knows how long it's been in there. Seemed a little worn, so I put a new one in. And then I put Loctite and lock washers on these. It seems like there's so much vibration with these trucks. With these ZF6s, it seems like once you take transmission off from the factory, if it's never been off before and you put it back together, it seems like these bolts just want to keep backing out. So we Loctite and lock washers. So that's pretty well that, and that's all I've done honestly so far. We need to go over the parts that I have ordered for this thing. So we're gonna lay out all these parts and figure out what's what, because some of this stuff is for my asphalt stuff and some of this stuff's for the truck. So hopefully I have everything that I need for the truck, or else I'll be waiting again. First up, we have our fluid dampener harmonic balancer with our SFI card and washer. So it's been a little while since I had bought one of these, and this is the upgraded design. I assume maybe bolts might run in that. I don't know, I'll have to look into it, but regardless, for a ZF6 truck, or really any of these older trucks, is great to have these. Keeps vibration down, helps from snapping the crank. Okay, now I know what this one is because I've been waiting on this one here for quite a while. We have the L5P oil cooler. It's a complete kit from Banks. This is looks like a pretty nice kit. Also has the AMS oil filter. So I'll no longer use like the older LB7, LLY style oil filter. It'll be the L5P one because it's different size, and man, that's actually friggin' huge compared to the stock one. Okay, nice. Well, oh, look at that. Now that is pretty slick. I did not know he had those. That's pretty cool. Okay, this, obviously I know what this one is. This is our new water pump. Anytime I have one of these trucks tore apart where the engine's out, I just go ahead and put a new water pump on them. Heck, I mean, for the money, you might as well do it while it's out. Let's see what this is. Let's set this down a second. Okay, so these are my paint sprayer guns, which are for my parking lot stripers. Set these off to the side. Might as well go ahead and get the bags knocked out of the way here. Okay, these 3 bags, not even related to the trucks. I've already opened these up when they showed up. These are exotic head bolts. I've ran these several times now and I'm quite happy with them. They actually have a stronger stencil strength compared to like other brands, and you really can't beat the price. And they make this kit really nice. Everything they put in it, bag everything up, air freshener, sockets. Pretty nice little kit for the money. So far, not had any issues with this brand. It's been pretty awesome, really. Alright, we'll open up this next one. I think I know what might be in this one. It's like Christmas. Okay, so now we have our solid engine mounts. I had bought these off of eBay for a pretty reasonable deal. Okay, let's see here. Kinda wondering if I got the order or something, unless it's in this box, because I know what should be in here. I just don't know if I ordered it. I need my downpipe. I don't know if I got it. Oh, I got it. I see it wrapped. Oh, yeah. That is nice. So these, I've not ever used these before. This will be my first time using these exhaust manifolds. They're smooth inside, they're high flow. Normally the ones I see, they come out a little bit further out, or a little different. I do know to run these, I have to have, okay. They might have just provided the ones I need. I'll have to check that, because I don't know if I ordered extra up pipe bolts or if this is actually for the manifolds. If it is, that's great. It'll save me a trip from having to get those. That is a nice looking downpipe. Okay, this last one's from Lincoln Diesel, and I do know that this is my head gaskets. But I think there was some other stuff I ordered in here. Yes, so okay, yep, they're both in there. Nice. I got taped here my injector O-rings. There should be banjo seals and crush washers, and I have injector cup O-rings. Nice. Well, that ought to do it for a little bit. So I guess the plan now is well, I guess lift the cab up, move it in, lift the cab up, and I need to do a little work to the frame. I gotta do some paint work. I gotta put some new brake lines on it, and I may see about straightening out this front frame horn. It's just the end of it's a little mangled up because that comes from the rollover truck. And I have to replace a bracket on the bottom of the frame that the cab sits on because it got crushed. So, well, this is at least a start because I need to be getting this truck done. Enough talking, let's just start getting at it. Well, this was fun to get off. I wanted to take it off on the floor because from what I hear, if you do it in the frame, there's not a lot of room. So I just kind of would rather do it now while it's sitting here. It wasn't super fun to get off. That back bolt right here is kind of a, or sorry, not that one, but the one that's on this other side. It's kind of a pain. But there it is, so I'll start. I guess I'm bagging everything and make sure I put this thing back together correctly. Hit another roadblock as usual. Thought I'd save a little bit of money by buying the eBay engine mounts for this. Not only is it an inch away from setting, but the holes also don't line up. I even flipped the engine mounts around just for the heck of it. There was no difference. It's just so far away. So now I have to take them off and wait for another set of engine mounts. Always has to be something. The coolant tube doesn't seem to fit as snug on the L5P cooler as it did on the LB7 cooler. Hopefully it won't leak, we'll find out. But had to move the brace back one notch on the open your bolt holes. Had to move it back a notch because this frame was an automatic truck. This one's the ZF6, so it's back a little bit. But yeah, so this is pretty much where we're at. I did go ahead and mount the brace on the back, tail housing brace. It's not gonna necessarily save the back of the tail housing from breaking, but it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna start tearing this engine apart. I wanted to do it in the frame. That way it's kind of up in the air and I'm not having to work off on the ground. Well guys, I am baffled what I've discovered about this engine. I haven't really got as much progress done to it as I wanted to last night, and I discovered a slight problem. I didn't record it last night because I really wanted to sleep on it a little bit before I talk about it to maybe have a better idea of what had happened. I'll just show it to you what I got going on. I pulled the valve covers off and we have all this rust, and honestly I don't know. Let me get a light real quick and see if that will help. It's kind of dark out here, but all of this rust on the rocker arms, the push rods, even on this return line, which is kind of crazy because it's brass. So I didn't really want to talk about it last night, just for the fact of, I guess I wanted to have more of an understanding of what had happened. So I didn't really want to, I mean, honestly, we could just guess, but I guess what I'm surprised about is I've put 50,000 miles on this engine the whole time that I had this engine. I've never tore this engine apart. The only thing I've ever done to it was check the oil and change the oil. I never went into the engine ever the entire time, and that's part of the reason why I want to do head gaskets and studs while the engine was out. While I was putting it in this frame building truck, I said, heck, just tear the heads off, head stud it, that way it's done. I don't have to get the truck together and 2 months later pops a head gasket. Just do it now. I'm really glad I did. This thing had absolutely no symptoms of any issues, and realistically, as rusty as everything is, I guess I'm just surprised it didn't run kind of rough, just for the fact of I would think that some of the tolerance would be out on the valves. I have an idea what had happened. I tore this apart, and when I did, in this bottom corner, there was a piece of aluminum. And at first I thought it was steel. Right here it is, but I said, oh no, this is terrible. Well, I discovered, which is actually kind of a separate event. I'm just lucky I was tearing it apart to discover that. But it was a piece of the lower valve cover that broke off. So I discovered that. But the other issue, this is where I think the rust problem popped up, is, well, on these lower valve covers, you got these little rubber grommets that slide in. This one, which this is actually passenger side. On the driver's side is where the problem more was, because it's more rusty on this side than the passenger side. I have a missing rubber grommet right here. So my thought was the water was directly going into that. Any kind of condensation or anything was making its way into the engine there. And then from there, whenever it'd get hot, you had your hoses which go across your valve covers. All that moisture would go up through the hose, and it would actually run down into a canister here, and then it would drip back into your oil. So if it would have had the PCV reroute, what moisture would have been in it would have worked its way right out. That would have saved a lot of headache. My only speculation is that's how water was getting in this engine. There's no water in the oil now, and this could have been before I'd even bought this truck. So I guess where I'm getting at is I'm glad I'm tearing the engine apart. That way I'm catching this now. PCV reroute, any kind of moisture would took the water out. That's the only idea that I think how water was getting into the engine was from that rubber grommet missing. There's no water or coolant mixture in the oil, so I don't see an injector cup necessarily being cracked. I mean, we're going to find out when I tear it apart. I got to take the cups out of this head, but that's not the problem. It was somehow water ended up in the engine, stayed in the engine. Just kind of surprised that the engine ran as good as it did. I was just super surprised. I can't really believe it. But I have another set of rocker arms, which I'd soaked down last night in some diesel fuel. Try and clean them up a little bit. They've been sitting on a shelf for a while. Got some extra push rods. There's a few I got to clean up that's savable, and probably replace the return lines on it. But who knew? I'm just kind of surprised. Out of all the engines I've tore apart and worked on, I've not yet seen that. And I'd worked on an engine that held water and set for a long time, and I didn't even see anything like that. It had major cylinder rust. Actually, the cylinders was seized to the block. I just wouldn't have thought an engine as well as this one ran. I just wouldn't have thought that, but learn something all the time. So I guess stick around and we'll eventually get this engine tore apart and back together correctly and continue on. I guess another thing that I thought was super surprising about this, and why I'm kind of surprised that it ran well, not only was that rubber grommet or bushing missing, I found it. And it was wedged, and I will get a better video on it when I get this tore apart some more. But it's wedged itself down here. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. you can see right there up against the push rod. So it's wedged itself between the head and the push rod, and there's a wear mark on the push rod. So that had to fall in when they were putting the valve cover on, which means that has bounced around. I don't know how long it's been in that particular spot, but it's been bouncing around all up in here for at least 50,000 miles that I drove it. I'm just surprised between all the rust and then that. I don't know, it ran really well. So I'm glad I decided to tear this thing apart, and I guess hopefully no more big surprises like that. Guess we'll get a picture of this. Wow. Well, that wear mark. Cranked way too tight. So these should be torqued not near as tight as they are, and that is unbelievable how tight they have these. This goes to show pretty much goes to show some of these places really don't know what they're doing. This one's already rounded off. Unbelievable. So instead of either running these, the factory all the way across, they run half aftermarket. This is just crazy. And then they didn't torque them right. Wow. Unbelievable. That one actually wasn't as bad as the other ones. Back at it again, and didn't make it very far to hit another roadblock. First of all, these torque specs on these is not much, and for some reason people tend to want to crank them down like they're torquing friggin' head bolts. So these, I ran it off the inside with the Allen wrench. Then I went to vice grips, and that didn't work. So then went over to my extractor tool, and that didn't work. Then I tried the chisel and a hammer, that didn't work either. And I ended up taking this 12mm extractor, goes around the entire thing, and that worked. So there is no reason to have to torque them down like that, because now I have to replace those, and I always try to keep some spare stuff. It's just, if you don't want to do it right, just don't even work on them. That's all I really got to say about that, because it causes a headache for other people to have to work on the stuff down the road. Sorry about that. I had a little rant about the return lines. It's kind of frustrating. So we're going to carry on and get these heads off. Take these bridges off. Now, I guess we'll see how tight they crank the injectors in. That so far actually feels about right. Dang. Now some people use a tool to pull these injectors. I pull them a couple different ways. Pretty much I use what I got, because you can see I basically don't have a lot of room, and I have the basic tools. Whether it be right or wrong, I don't really care. If it works, it's right in my eyes. But you don't want to do that. So this is the one I worked pretty hard on, trying to loosen on the return lines. This pulled the cup out. The cup looks like it's in pretty good shape. I hope that cup will separate without having to damage it. We'll see how many of these cups pop out. Regardless, they all gotta come out anyway. But I'd prefer them to stay in the head. It's easier, well, there's another one. It's easier to get them out of the head than it is to get them off the injector, from my experience. No need to keep these injectors in order. They're all pretty much new injectors, and they're good ones. Just seeing if I can find any other markings on them. There we go. So these was from 2020. I do need to check. That sucks. Got another one. I do need to check and see if I have another lower valve cover for the passenger side. Daggone, these things is... See, they've only replaced some of these O-rings on these cups. Unless they had another set of O-rings that was new there too, but it's hard to say. All I know is that things was not done correctly. Wow. Hope I get these off all right. That's 4 cups. Worst case, if I damage them getting them off, I have spare cups. Need more work tables around here. Problem is, where we do asphalt work, I guess I need to build my barn, but doing asphalt work, I tried to store my stuff inside, and I don't really want to put them in other places. I want them easy to get to, so I try to put stuff in here, and it's gotten to the point where I'm out of room in my other barn. I'm out of room in my shipping container. I don't want another container here at the moment because I don't have a good spot for it. So I'm thinking the new barn is probably going to end up having to come along here soon. That way I can have a dedicated area just for this stuff. My tools, all my tools has been laying out for a while because I work on 10 different things back to back. And as soon as I put them up, I gotta get them right back out. And I haven't had a chance to put them up lately because it's been one thing after another. Has anyone else had these batteries just come apart? Every one of these batteries I bought online has just started falling apart. Every single one of them. 2 in a row. Unbelievable. Guy cannot have anything. Everything's about quantity, not quality. Jeez. Get me a magnet, pull them out. They're kind of suction tight. These head bolts here, you might as well throw them in the scrap bin. Well, I guess we can see about lifting them off. I'm not too worried about if they get banged around. I just want to find a good spot to set them, maybe back here. Because I got parts I got to pull off of them, and then I'll send them to the machine shop, get them resurfaced, and put them on a shelf. Hard to say what else is falling here. Just leave the head gasket on it for right now. Tell you what, let's just put it on this side since it come off the passenger. Okay. Not too terrible. Wasn't really wanting to stick my hand down in here since, oh my gosh. Wow. What a mouse nest that is. Jeez. Well, I guess I'm gonna get the vacuum and suck that crap out of there. Wow. So when I bought my service truck, which is that cab with the service bed and the cab and chassis frame, there was rat and mice nests in the whole cab and the service stuff. So seeing this is no surprise, and there's usually a nest in here, but not seen one this bad. Wow. Well, I managed to destroy some stuff on my own. I wanted to remove the aluminum plate that was underneath here because it was caped in freaking mouse crap. And I was trying to basically fish it out without having to undo the pipes and all that stuff, because I ended up losing that in the process, and it destroyed the return pretty bad, unfortunately. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. So robbed that one off of a core engine I have. Just kind of sucks I had to take the time to do that, but hey, you know, if it'd be easy, everybody'd do it, I guess, right? Okay, so turbo's back on. New oil return pipe. It's bolted down. New banjo seal up on top. That turned out being a whole lot more difficult than it really needed to be, all over that stupid piece of aluminum. But sealed the bottom there, and also sealed up underneath the turbo. Everything's all sealed up, torqued down. So that was an extra hour and a half for no reason at all. Alright, well, I think I'm about done for today. It's been a long day. Things didn't really go planned again, but this is what we've got. As you can see, just like you watch, got the heads off, and I got them setting back there. I did take the valve covers and I cleaned them. Probably could have cleaned them a little bit better. Still got some gunk in the corners, but not really going for a show truck with it. Just wanted it cleaned up. I started scraping off the old gasket maker that goes up underneath there. Got that pretty well cleaned up, and you know, we battled our turbo earlier and the return lines, so that stuff really wasn't planned at all. Could have made it a little bit further today, but it is what it is, and not really on a set time with the truck, but I would like to get it done as soon as possible so I could use it. But I guess you just have to tune in for the next one and see what we can accomplish on it tomorrow.